What's up, everybody? I'm a little sick today and a little lazy, so I'm not doing a live commentary. But you still have game audio, so just pretend like it's live. But anyways, today I'm going to talk about groups and just like I just absolutely hate working in groups. That's what I've decided. And that's because yeah, I think it was maybe like 1 or 2 weeks ago. Um, I posted a video, right, and it was like I'm not sure what it was. Basically, I talked about like doing like some kind of project, right? And what I did mention was like I was working in groups, right? That entire time, right? I was doing most of the stuff. I was doing the editing, the writing, and most stuff. The only thing I didn't do was pick out the costumes, or whatever, right? For the project. I had someone else do that, right? Because I was like, well, I'm not sure where to get stuff. And so this one person did that, right? And that was all they did. And then the two other people in the group, they did nothing, right? I was thinking about reporting them, but I was like, snitches get stitches. And so I decided, you know what? I won't do that, actually. I probably should, though. So, right, but that sparked something in my brain, and I remembered a time, right? I want to go all the way back to 3rd grade, right? Because I remembered this, right? All the way back in 3rd grade, I had this project, and it was like the end of a year project. It was supposed to be a play, right? You and a group of people would read a book, and what you would do is you would then like do a play off of it. Someone would play a character, you would get your lines, blah, normal stuff, right? And so I get into this group, right? And the teacher says what you should do is you should have 3 days to read the book. It's like 50 pages. It's not that much. There's even audiobooks about each of the plays, so you'll be fine, right? And keep in mind, each of the groups had different books to read, right? And so I get my team, right, and like we're reading the book in like the first day, right? It goes by, right, and I over like the weekend I read the book, right? Come back, right, and I sit down at my table and I'm just like, all right, who wants to play who, right? And the first person goes and they say, I didn't finish reading the book, and I'm like, all right, that's annoying. The second person goes, we were supposed to read a book, and I was like, what? And then the third person sitting across from me goes, yeah, I just forgot, and I was like, all right, I'm working with idiots here. Absolute morons is what I'm working with here, and so I have to take them under my wing, so then we can ace this, right? So that day, right, instead of like preparing who's going to take what, like preparing the lines and deciding, oh, who's going to play what character, right? That day I spent explaining the book to them and the characters and the events and stuff, and I was like, all right, this person is going this way because they have to go here to get there. They can defeat this person while the other person, blah, blah, blah. Continuing on, right? I explained that the entire day, right? And the next day, right, I finally get there, right? And I'm like, okay, everyone should at least understand the book. We can worry about the lines later. Everyone should at least understand the book, right? And so I asked the person sitting to my right, I think. I asked them, what character do you want to play? And they shrugged their shoulders. I'm like, I don't know. They're like, I don't know. I don't know what to play. I'll play anything, right? I'm like, all right, that's fine. I asked the person to my left. Did I say left or right? I don't remember. I'm too tired and just too sick right now to care. I asked the person to my left, what do you want to play? And they're just like, I don't really care. I'll play anything, right? So I asked the person in front of me, what do you want to play, right? And they don't give me an answer. And so I say, all right, screw it. I'm picking your roles. So I look to the person to the left. And I go, okay. You're going to play this role. I don't remember exactly what it was, because I don't remember, like, I'm remembering this vividly. You're going to play this character, right? And they're like, all right. And then the person to my right, the opposite person, right, towards me, they go, no, I want to play that character. And I'm just like, but you just said you didn't want to play that character. Why do you want to play that character now, right? And they're just like, I want to play that character, right? You have absolutely no clue the anguish right there that I felt. So anyways, continuing on, right? They're so dumb. I eventually sorted and everyone has the roles, and like my role was to play like a narrator, because the narrator in this book is like what they decided to do. If there was a narrator, is the narrator would be the suited figure in the background. They would come onto the stand, and they would just be like, all right, you stand there, do your lines, right? Done. Right? And so that was my role. And if you're wondering, right, why these people are doing nothing, right, I have no clue why they're doing nothing. Maybe they just weren't interested, right? But you should at least do something because, one, this was 4th grade, and 2, your parents are going to be there, right? Because because this was like, I think that basically it wasn't just for the other people in your class. No, it would be for absolutely like your parents, right? Whoever came, right? Which I think it was my mother who decided to attend. Thank goodness she was there. I didn't need emotional support anyways, though. But we everyone gets their roles, right? And I specifically remember this, right? I practice their lines, and the day comes, right? I step on screen. I like straighten my tie because I was practicing in the mirror like I did before. I straighten my tie and like I begin, right. I do my lines flawlessly. Then the main character walks up, right. The first person, right. They walk up, right, and they start their lines and they begin to stutter and fumble it, right. And I remember this so specifically. They like slowly turn around, like they turn their head around to look at me, and they have like the puppy dog eyes. I'm just like, what do I do? And so I have to mouth the words to them. And I'm just like, you got to do this, right? And like it, like the neurons fire in their brain, and they go, oh, of course, I got to do this. Like the only brain cell left. I was like, oh yeah, I got to do this, right? And then they do that, right? And I will say multiple times throughout this play, the amount of times they turned around to look at me for help was absolutely insane. I'm just saying, if I'm not there, if I'm not their guardian angel right there, they probably failed that. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe I should just let them fail it, because I mean, it wouldn't have affected my grade that much. I would have still had like an A in that class, and so, hey, why do I care? But you know, like the savior I am, like the good boy I am, I decided, all right, let me assist you all. Let me assist you in this, and so that's exactly what I did, right? Sorry. Now, other than that, I remember this other play I had, right? Or was it play? No, it wasn't play. It was this assignment. It was something in middle school. I knew this was going to be a pain because this was during COVID, right? I think, right? Yeah, I don't remember. It's just so phasey or whatever, right? So I remember this, right? I had this group project I needed to do, right? It was for a science class, and we were supposed to make a poster board of like something. I don't remember what. The main thing is it was a poster board, right? And the problem with online is like you can't just like you can't like go to someone in person and then just be like, so here's the poster board. No. So our plan, right, was one person would keep the poster board, others would submit images and information, and they would just write it down, and then the person with the poster board would just turn on their camera, share their screen, or whatever, right? And on the Zoom, when presenting it, right? Some of them would present and just talk about it, and just the other person would just stand there next to the board, whoever had it, right? So, of course, as it is, the duty to actually make the poster board and have it falls onto me, right? And so, I have this poster board, right? And I'm just like, all right, everyone submit. I have like a pretty firm grasp on this. Everyone submit what they want to submit, and then I will I'll submit what I can after you've all submitted, right? And so I say this to like everyone, right? At exactly, and I don't remember why I remember this exactly, but I remember submitting this to everyone at 3:27 a.m. Now, of course, I didn't expect anyone to respond immediately, right? And of course, no one did. And so I waited, and I thought, well, okay, if they're gonna get up early or even late, I should have at least submitted now, so when I go to sleep, right, it's submitted, and they can respond to me, right? After I go to bed, I wake up around 2 a.m. or not 2 a.m., 2 p.m. because once again, it was COVID. I didn't have any Zooms to attend, right, at that time for that day. I remember submitting it, right, and I remember opening the chat, right. I remember like clicking my mouse like comically, like slamming my finger down on it to like open it. So like, you know, whatever, right? I remember opening that, right? And I remember just saying no messages. And I'm like, so am I getting ghosted, dono walled? What is happening here, right? And so I sent a few more messages like, hello, anyone there, right? And then eventually I get one message from one person from this group, right? And I will always remember this message because it was, and I quote, "Can you please shut up? I'm trying to clutch a Fortnite game." And I was like, you're playing Fortnite right now. You are playing Fortnite. I respect that. I honestly respect that. However, you understand this is due in 2 weeks, right? I didn't get a message after that. And then I got a message 2 hours later from another person in that group, right? And that person submitted the laziest piece of information for that course I've ever seen. It was like 2 sentences, and I'm like, you understand that it's we basically need like 2 essays worth of information, and you just submitted like an introduction worth of it, right? And they were just like, I did my part, and I was like, all right, so I of course have to carry, right? By the way, the third person in this entire thing, because once again it was 4 people, right? The third person never responded at all. They just sat there and did absolutely nothing, right? The first person actually responded, at least. The first person submitted like 1 information of text originally, right? And then me, I'm sitting there and I'm just like thinking to myself, I'm sitting there and I'm just like, all right, so I have to do it, all right. And so I get all the images, I get all the information, I do absolutely everything, right? And I say one thing to them, right? I'm just like, I have finished the poster board, here it is, right? And here's a digital copy of it. All I need you to do is read the information for me. And that's all I need you to do. Because I'll be completely honest, at that time, I did not have a very good mic, and I didn't want, to strain people's ears in the Zoom, right? So I didn't have a very good mic. Because I was like, just read the information to me. I did everything else. If you do this, we'll call it even though it was not in the slightest bit even. We'll call it even though, right? No response. Day of the Zoom. They just don't show up. None of them. And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm sitting there as it's beginning, stroking my chin, and I'm thinking to myself, well, damn. So, of course, right? Because I wasn't planning on turning my camera speaking at all, right? I was just planning on them presenting anything, right? And that's the arrangement, right? But they don't show up. And I just think to myself, damn. So I really quickly put on like a shirt and tie, right? I really quickly put on a shirt and tie. And I grabbed myself. I grabbed my headset and I pulled down the mic because I have a gaming headset, right? And I'm sitting there in the middle of my room with my camera on, right? And all you can hear is like the mic is trash. Like, like Xbox 360 mics. That's basically what it was. And I'm like, today, guys, I have an assignment on, like, it was terrible, right? But they didn't show up. What was I supposed to do? Just like kneel and just say, all right. So they didn't show up, right? And I start the presentation, and surprisingly, right? It went well. Actually, not surprisingly. I mean, after all, I studied this information so much and stuff like that, right? So I studied all this information. I did all the things, right? I did all the work, and boom, done, right? I specifically remember the day after I did this, right? I remember getting a message in that group chat, which I was thinking about leaving like the previous day because I was fed up with these people, right? But I remember seeing that, right? And you want to know what the message was? It was from the person playing Fortnite, right? And they were upset because they got a 95 on the assignment. And I was like, how are you upset, right? You want to know what's funny? Their grade at the end was a C+. And they basically told me, I'm not sure if this is true, maybe they were just like hyping up to make me feel bad, which I didn't feel bad in the slightest. They told me if I got a 96 on this, he would have a B, right? And he wouldn't like lose electronics and stuff like that. And what I specifically said was L ratio cope, you did nothing except play Fortnite and you suck at it. You are terrible. Right? And I left the group chat after that. Haven't talked to them since, and I hope I will never interact with these gremlins ever again because they are they're just such awful people, right? If you're the type of person to be in a group chat project and you do not pull your own weight, a very special man will visit you in the middle of the night, right? And he'll take you to this really cool place called the orphanage, right? And you'll never see any of your family members again. Sorry, that's my apologies. Anyways, so continuing on, right? I have one more story I can tell, because as you've probably noticed, this video is longer than normal, and that's because since it's not live, I thought I would make it longer than normal. So it's 20 minutes instead of 10, right? Also, I have too many stories to tell, right? This final story. Happened to me recently, actually. I had an assignment. It was a history assignment for a specific event that people do called National History Day, right? Stuff like that, And I'm not sure why my teacher did this, because I literally looked up the rules, and they were like, you can do this by yourself, right? You can participate in these things by yourself, right? But the teacher specifically wanted me to work in a group, right? And I'm not sure why, because I don't talk to anyone at school. I arrive, I get it done, I do what I need, and then I leave, right? But still, I get into this group, right? And I'm sitting there. And I'm not gonna say this, right? Actually, I'm gonna say this, right? I'm gonna say this. I'm sitting there. It's one guy and then two women, right? And these women are on their phones, on Snapchat, scrolling, and just talking about whatever. And I'm sitting there, like, I'm sitting there with my hair comb, my glasses on, and like my uniform, and I'm just thinking to myself, all right, guys, we gotta get this done. Of course, I wasn't actually sitting there in that attire. I was more sitting there like I'm wearing some Dark Souls armor, right? But still, I'm sitting there, right? And I'm just like, are we gonna have a repeat of 3rd grade where I have to do this by myself? And the answer is, of course, yes. The guy also, I'll say this, the guy actually did pull some weight. He did some stuff, but I just remember this was, yet again, a poster board where I had to submit images, I had to create a thesis, I had to summarize it, I had to cite the sources, I had to make primary sources. The only thing this guy did was add an image of, I think his name was General Eisenhower, something like that, right? Because it was some World War II stuff, right? It was like Eisenhower. That's his last name, Eisenhower. He was also like a president or something like that. That's not important though, right? That's all he did, right? And like, sure, when like presenting it and stuff like that, I guess he pulled his weight. Oh, actually, I'm surprised with this dude, because what he did, right, was he sorry, was when we were presenting it, right, he like gained like omnipotence, right? And he just understood everything in that instance, right? And I was shooketh to my core, because I was like, wait a minute, this guy knows what's going on and he's presenting it perfectly. I'll clap my hands to that, because I'm an introvert, right? Of course, I can speak up to people, right? And I can like talk out, like, if I need to, if like people are like super introverted. I'm not super introverted, but I'm introverted enough, I could say, right? But still, I'm talking to these people, right? And like after the presentation, I'm talking to them, right? And I dap this dude up. I'm like, you know what? You're all right. And I look at the women, and I'm just like, I'm just glad we passed. And that was like the final day of that school. I'm sure when I go back in the fall, they're gonna look at me and they're just gonna be like, disgusting. And I'm like, you guys did absolutely nothing. How are you still in this school? Maybe they just don't work well together on projects. But then again, I don't work well with other people on projects. Like, most projects I do by myself. And so that's not an excuse. I just think they're lazy. And that's coming from me. Listen, I'm super lazy. I don't procrastinate, but I'm lazy. I don't mind like sitting in my bed for 2 hours and just staring at the ceiling, right? Sorry. Anyways, so yeah, overall, I hate working in groups. I've never liked working in groups. I will never like working in groups, just because it's terrible. It's terrible. I'm sure some people like working in groups, but that's because they have good experiences working in groups. I don't. I rarely have a good experience working in groups. The only time I have a good experience working in groups is when I'm getting carried, is when I'm the one doing no work. Which I guess is ironic, because I hate everyone who does no work. Of course, like if someone else is pulling their own weight, I pull my own weight. Don't worry, I'm not a leech most of the time. But you know what I am? I'm an artist. That's what I am. I simply pilfer and steal from people. It's a craft, you know. It's stealing from. Where am I going with this? I don't even know. But That's gonna be it for me. Once again, I apologize that this isn't live. I really like doing live commentaries because like I don't want to be like just a commentary YouTuber. I feel like commentary YouTubers just like get in front of CS:GO surf gameplay and call it a day. But I like actually, playing Minecraft. It's one of my favorite games and stuff like that. So, that is going to be it for me. So I hope you guys enjoy it. I also hope that maybe the longer content you also enjoy. I was just, I just thought like, well, I'm not doing live, so I might as well just make it longer. 20 minutes. Maybe someone enjoys my presence, even though that's like rare for someone to do that. And so, other than that, group project sucks. If you have good if you have good group project, if you have good, I can't talk because my mind is zoning out because it's coming to an end. If you have good group project experiences, you can tell me in the comments. I'll read them. And if you have bad ones, oh, please share them with me so I can be like, girl, you already know I am with you. I don't know why I felt doing that. Anyways, so yeah, that's it for me. As usual, I probably extended this outro too long, but as usual, subscription in the bottom and video in the top. And so yeah, that's it for me. All right. Bye.